Okay, so we are looking at multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. And in order to multiply a fraction and a mixed number, first we write the mixed number as an improper fraction. Remember that when mixed numbers are written as improper fractions, the denominator does not change. And that's really important. I'm going to ask you to please just underline that. The denominator does not change. So we leave the denominator the same, and then we multiply as with the same way that we do with fractions. So if we have 2 1/4, first of all, we need 2 1/2, excuse me. First of all, we need to start off by changing that 2 1/2, which is a mixed number, into an improper fraction. So 2 1/2, 2 times 2 is 4, and then we add that numerator 1, which makes it 5. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 in the numerator is 5, and we keep our denominator the same, 5/2. And that should make sense to us because if we have two wholes, another way that you can think of having two wholes is the same as having 4 halves. So if you think of like pumpkin pie, if you just had some pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving, 2 wholes is the same as 4 halves. Okay, so this 2 is the same as 4 halves. And then we add this 1/2. 4 halves plus 1/2 is altogether 5 halves. So that's just another way of thinking of it. So then we have now here's our original problem, 2 1/2 times 1/4. So again, we rewrote that 2 1/2 as 5 halves, and then we multiply that by 1/4. So 5 halves times 1/4. And then we multiply as we normally do. Numerator times numerator, 5 times 1 is 5. Denominator times denominator, 2 times 4 is 8. So our answer is 5/8. And anything that I'm writing down, you write down. That's just going to help you to do better with the lesson. Example 1, find 1/3 times 1 3/4 and write your answer in simplest form. So we have 1/3 times, but instead of 1 3/4, which is a mixed number, we're going to change that mixed number into an improper fraction. So let's do that right over here, 1 3/4. So we multiply the denominator times the whole number. So we have 1, which is the same as 4/4. So all we're doing is taking that denominator, the fourths, which is the portion, and we're multiplying it by 1 because we have one whole and it's cut into 4/4. So 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 3 in the numerator is 7. Okay, so this is 7/4. And the reason that we multiply that denominator times the whole number is because that whole number, it's one whole, and we multiply it by 4 because we're counting fourths. So that one whole is the same as 4/4. Okay. If we had 2, like we did up here in this example, when we had halves, right? 2 wholes. And if you think of your 2 wholes, so if these are like your pumpkin pies and you cut them in half, right? So it's still the same pie, you just sliced it into halves. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 halves, plus this half gave us the 5 halves. All right, so that's the reason why we multiply the denominator times the whole number, okay? Because it's just how many pieces, and then so then we have 1/3 times 1 3/4. We took our 1 3/4, which is a mixed number, and we wrote it as an improper fraction, 7/4. So times 7/4. Then we want to see if we can cross cancel. 3 and 7 do not have any common factors, so we can't cross cancel to simplify. And 1 and 4 don't have any common factors. So we can't cross cancel for this particular problem, but we always check. So we multiply straight across. Numerator times numerator. 1 times 7 is 7. 3 times 4 is 12. So our answer is 7/12. And then we always check to see if we can simplify 7/12. No, 7 and 12 don't have any common factors, so we cannot simplify. All right, let's look at example 2. I'm not going to use all these boxes. We'll just work over here in the empty space. Okay, 5 1/2 times 1/3. So first, we want to change that 5 1/2 from a mixed number, and we call it a mixed number because it's a mixture of whole number and fraction. Okay, so we want to change that from a mixed number into an improper fraction. So we do that by multiplying the denominator times the whole number, 2 times 5. Okay, and that gives us 10, plus our numerator, that's 11. So it's 11 halves. So remember, we just want to express that in terms of one fraction, not a mixed number. And the reason that we multiply the 2 times the 5, because if you think of these 5, if you think of this as 5.5 pies, okay? So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 pies. So there's your 5.5, 5.5 pies. And then the reason we're doing 5 times 2 is because we're going to take these pies and we're going to cut them from 5 whole pies into 10 halves, right? And that's where the 10 comes from. So here are my 5 whole pies, and I cut them in half because we want to have common units. We want them all in terms of halves, right? So now I did 5, and if I cut them in half, I have twice as many pieces or parts, right? But they're just smaller. So this gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 halves. All right. And that's where that 11 halves comes from. We leave the denominator there because that's just the size of our piece that we're looking at. Okay. Halves. So 5.5 is the same as 11 halves. And then we multiply by 1/3, so times 1/3. Before I multiply, I check to see if I can cross cancel. 11 and 3 do not have any common factors. 2 and 1 do not have any common factors. So I can't do any cross canceling. So then I multiply straight across. 11 times 1 in the numerator is 11. 2 times 3 in the denominator is 6. Okay, so then I want to check and see, I want to write my answer as a mixed number. Okay, so 11 divided by 6. 11 divided by 6. How many times does 6 go into 11? Once. 11 minus 6 is 5. So we used to say remainder 5, right? But now we say 5 out of 6. So 1 and 5, 6 is our answer. Okay, let's do got it A together down at the bottom of the page. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we have 2/3 times 2 1/2. So 2/3 times, and I'm going to take that 2 1/2, I'm going to change it into an improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4, plus the 1 in the numerator is 5. So this is 5 halves. So now we have 2/3 times 5 halves. I'm going to make that 3 a little bit neater. All right, then I check to see if I can cross cancel. I see I have a 2 here and I have a 2 here. So these can be cross canceled. 2 and 2 are both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then I multiply numerator times numerator. 1 times 5 is 5. Denominator times denominator. 3 times 1 is 3. So I have 5/3. So then this is 5 divided by 3. So that's the same as 1 and 2/3. Okay. 5/3 is the same as 1 and 2/3. To get from here to here, some of you can do that with mental math, and that's fine. That's what I just did. But if you don't know how to get from here to here, this is how you do it. It's 5 divided by 3, because remember that fraction bar means divide. 5 divided by 3. Okay. So how many times does 3 go into 5? It goes in once. 1 times 3 is 3, and we subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. So we used to say remainder 2, but now we say 2 out of, what were we dividing by? 3. So 1 and 2/3. Okay, so that's why the long division is really important. We spent so much time on it in the first quarter. Letter B, 3/8 times 3 1/3. So we have 3/8 times, I'm going to change the 3 1/3 into an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus the 1 in the numerator is 10. So times 10/3. Then I'm going to check to see if I can cross cancel. Okay, because if I multiply straight across, I'm going to have bigger digits in my answer. And that makes it harder to simplify. If I cross cancel as I go, it makes it easier for me, and I'm working with smaller numbers. So cross canceling is your friend. It keeps you from having bigger numbers in your answer, which numbers like 30 and 24 are not that big, but we will start working with larger numbers soon. So we want to get in the habit of simplifying as we go anytime we can. So we look at 3 and 3. Do they have any common factors? Yes. Obviously, they both have a 3. They're both divisible by 3. So I cross cancel. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Next, can I cross cancel anything else? Yes. I look at the 8 and the 10. Those are both even numbers, and I know that all even numbers are divisible by 2. So I cross cancel these. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now I have smaller numbers in my answer. Numerator times numerator is 5. That's a pretty small number in my answer. Denominator times denominator, 4 times 1 is 4. So 5/4 is the same as 1 1/4. Okay, so that is multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. Now on the next page, instead of having a fraction and a mixed number, we'll just be multiplying two mixed numbers together. So it's going to be very similar. So let's look at example 3 on page 283. And let's read the intro first, actually. To multiply two mixed numbers, write each mixed number as an improper fraction, and then use the greatest common factor, or GCF, to simplify. We can also use cross canceling to simplify with the GCF. So that's part. We're still using that same strategy of cross canceling. Okay. So find 1 7/8 times 3 1/4, or 3 1/3, and write your answer in simplest form. So 1 7/8. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 7 is 15. So we have 15/8 times 3 1/3. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus the 1 we carry, and the 1 in the numerator is 10. So times 10/3. Now, please remember, ladies and gentlemen, anything I'm writing down, you are writing down. All right? Anything I'm writing down, you are writing down. This will help you with your homework. It'll help you to prepare for your quiz. Now, whenever you see this tutor button, you can log into your online textbook and you can see these examples worked out for you by a teacher anytime you want. So you can log into your online textbook and that tutor session will walk you through this problem. All right, so again, we had 1 7/8, which we just rewrote as 15/8, times 3 1/3, which we just rewrote as 10/3. So now I want to check to see if I can cross cancel, find any greatest common factors and factor this out. 15 and 3. 15 and 3 are both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we just cross canceled there. The GCF was 3. What about 8 and 10? What's the greatest common factor in 8 and 10? The largest thing they both have in common, the greatest common factor, is 2. So 8 and 10 are both divisible by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now we can multiply numerator times numerator. 5 times 5 is 25. Denominator times denominator, 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, I know, let's see, so I have 25/4, 25/4. All right, I know 6 times 4 is 24, so that's going to get me really close. So I'll do a 6 here. 6 times 4 is 24, and then I subtract and I get 1. And we used to say remainder 1, but now we say 1 out of, what were we dividing by? 4. So it's 6 1/4. All right, so then let's go ahead down here to got it C. Well, we can do another one here. Let's see. Let's do the word problem, actually. Sometimes the word problems are the hardest ones. Try not to move any of these wires too much. Okay. There we go. The Hoover Dam contains 4.5 million cubic yards of concrete. The Grand Coulee Dam in Washington State contains 2 2/3 times as much concrete. How much concrete does it contain? So the larger dam, the Grand Coulee Dam, has more, well, I don't know if it's larger, but it has more concrete. It has 2 2/3 times as much. So the problem that we have is 4.5 times 2 2/3. So 4 1/2 times 2 2/3. Okay, denominator times the whole number. Times 4 is 8, plus the 1 is 9. So we have 9 halves times 2 times 3 is 6, plus the 2 in the numerator is 8, so 8/3. Okay, I want to check for greatest common factor. The greatest common factor of 9 and 3 is 3, so I can cross cancel here and I get a 1 and a 3 because those are both divisible by 3. Then I look at my 8 and my 2. The greatest common factor of 2 and 8 is 2. Okay, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So then it's just numerator times numerator. 3 times 4 is 12. Denominator times denominator. 1 times 1 is 1. I don't really need to write 12 over 1. I can just write 12. So 12 million yards of million cubic yards of concrete. 12 million cubic yards of concrete. All right. And then let's go ahead with got it C. If we can get that on camera, that's way down there at the bottom of the page. Hopefully I'm not going to unplug any of these wires. There we go. Mr. Wilkins is laying bricks to make a rectangular patio. The area he is covering with bricks is 15.5 feet by 9 3/4 feet. What is the area of the patio? Okay, so he has a patio 15 3/4 feet times 9 3/4 feet. All right, so we want to find the area. Who remembers the formula for the area of a rectangle? Because they told us it's a rectangular shaped patio. So the area of a rectangle is equal to, good job, length times the width. Okay, I know you remembered that. So length times the width. So we have 15 3/4. Oh, I'm sorry, it was 15 1/2. I apologize. So let's fix that. So 15 1/2 times 9 3/4. So we want to change those both into improper fractions and then we can multiply. So to change it into an improper fraction, remember it's denominator times whole number plus the numerator. 2 times 15 is 30 plus the 1 in the numerator is 31. So we have 31/2 times 9 times 4 is 36 plus the 3 in the numerator is 39. Okay. And then we want to check and see if we can cross cancel. Let's see. 2 and 39. Okay, well, 2 is even, 39 is odd. They don't have any common factors. These 31 and 4, they don't have any common factors either. So this is going to be a larger number that we're working with here. So 31 times 39. It's going to be a big answer. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Yeah, okay. 1 times 9 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, we move over one space because now we're in the tens column with the 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so we have 9. 10, carry the 1, 12. So 1,209 in our numerator. And then 2 times 4 is 8. So we have 8 in our denominator. Let me make that 8 a little bit nicer. Kind of looks like a 9 right now. 1,209 eighths. Okay, well, nobody really knows what 1,209 eighths is. Okay, that's not a number that we really understand. So when we're buying bricks, we need to get a little bit closer, like how many square feet of bricks do we need to buy? Okay, so 1,209 divided by 8. I want to go ahead and divide that out so I have a better idea of what that number really is. So let's go ahead and do that. 1,209 divided by 8. So here's our long division again. Long division is not going away. So we get more and more opportunities to practice it all throughout 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Okay, so let's keep working on getting better and better at that. 8 does not go into 1, so I can't write anything above the 1. 8 does go into 12. It goes in 1 time. So I'm going to write a 1 above the 2 in the 12. 1 times 8 is 8. And then I can subtract. 12 minus 8 is 4. I bring down my 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. So I write a 5 above the 0 from the 40. and then I do 5 times 8, which is 40, and then I subtract. I bring down, which is 0, so I bring down my 9. 8 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. 9 minus 8, let's see if I can move my camera a little bit. Yep, 9 minus 8 is 1. We used to say remainder 1, but now we say 1/8. So 151 and 1/8, and we were measuring in feet times feet. Now feet times feet is square feet. So 151 and 1/8 square feet is our answer for the area of the patio. And so this lesson was on multiplying a fraction by a mixed number and then multiplying a mixed number by a mixed number. So that was chapter 4, lesson 4, multiply and divide fractions, mixed numbers and fractions.